life I've barely spoken. Your words have been so broken. I've been under your hypnosis. Why did I sip that potion? I'm so done with holy ghosting. My birth, it is an omen. Lay me down up in the ocean until you see no motion. Right now I can barely focus. I'm showing no emotion. On your knees, show your devotion. My skin is black but golden. I'm not here for bragging, boasting. Ain't lying, I've been chosen. Mind is burning, heart's exploding. This is my magnum opus. Are you with me now? Said, are you with me now? Ain't felt this good in a while. They want us to simmer down. Can you hear me now? Am I going in and out? I stop and just look around to see if you're with me now. Tell me, are you with me now? Ready to put it down. Start at the bottom, already forgot them, but they won't forgive me now. You really ain't ready now. You haters just in the crowd, but still I just look around. Are you with me now? Are you with me? Step in the fire, get ready to take it higher. Real nigga coming out your amplified. Y'all want every black man to be rich and pride. Why these white boys fuck up and turn into shy, huh? Cell phone became your brother. Internet replace your mother. You leaving homies on red. It's no wonder all your friends dead. Jealousy was a centerpiece, so my best friends turned to enemies. Sabotage my identity. Why they wanna treat me like a Kennedy? They wanna affect the legacy. Protect the heart, I cut off the extremities. I'll never be another piece in your recipe for social supremacy. Are you with me now? Said, are you with me now? Ain't felt this good in a while. They want us to simmer down. Can you hear me now? Am I going in and out? I stop and just look around to see if you're with me now. Tell me, are you with me now?
Hey guys, this is Tony from Streetball Strategies, where we use strategy to build your streetball legacy. I told you guys I was gonna drain this ball of all of its stale air and pump some new air into it, so hopefully it'll bounce better now.
Said, are you with me now?
It's been a weird year for basketball, guys. I mean, it's obviously been a weird year in general, 2020 just all together, but basketball included in that. It's definitely been a weird year. As we speak, last night in Game 5 of the NBA Finals, the Miami Heat beat the LA Lakers to force a Game 6. And that made me think about how it's good, how it's important, how it can be good for your streetball career and streetball legacy to be thought of as an underdog, like the Miami Heat are this year against the LA Lakers in the NBA Finals. So, today we're going to talk about why it's a good thing to be considered an underdog, why it's good for your legacy.
Silence. Yeah, I'm quiet, but fuck all that shyness. Go crazy, turn this bitch into an asylum. You fly, but we ain't looking for pilots.
I like hard balls. I'd cut that out.
Down, man, that's basic science. Look at my iris and you'll see the fines. I'd rather not get involved with you niggas. What's the problem, man? I'll solve all you niggas, huh? How you find when your time up? How you climb when your line stuck? Barbershop getting lined up. Yeah, your hair good, but your mind fucked. Super damn clear, Uber everywhere. This sound like Superman is here.
Haha, much better. That's what I'm talking about. Remember, it used to be flat? It was kind of flat. Now it bounces the way it's supposed to.
Am I going in and out? I stop and just look around to see if you're with me now. Tell me, are you with me now? Ready to put it down. Start at the bottom, already forgot it, but they won't forgive me now. You really ain't ready now.
Why would you want to be an underdog? Well, let's talk about what an underdog is, in case there's some kind of misunderstanding. When I say underdog, what I mean is people look at you, and maybe even you look at yourself, as someone who is not expected to win, either because of experiential reasons or because of physical reasons. So for example, maybe you don't have the experience that other players have out here. Maybe you don't have the skills that you acquire from that experience that everybody else has out here. Or on the physical side, maybe you're just not as tall, maybe you're not as fast, maybe you can't jump as high, maybe you're not as strong. And when you put those two things together, when you step out here, people see you, they understand that it is unlikely that you're going to be successful. It's unlikely that you're going to win. Maybe you even think that about yourself, which is fine. If you do, it's fine. But that's what an underdog is. It's where you step out here and it's clearly defined that you are not expected to be as successful as the other people out here. So why is this a good thing? Why should you want to be an underdog? Well, think about it in terms of the comparison between like LeBron James and his Los Angeles Lakers and Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat, right? LeBron comes into the league straight out of high school, has huge expectations on him right away, and he's pretty much lived up to those expectations throughout his career. Jimmy Butler comes into the NBA, and through most of his career so far, up until the point where he got to Miami, he was kind of like a glorified role player. No one really expected him to be this player that would be leading his team to the NBA Finals and challenging LeBron James and Anthony Davis and all those great veteran role players and Frank Vogel and that good coaching staff that they have with the Lakers. No one expected Jimmy Butler to do that, right? LeBron James came in and his expectations were high, right? Jimmy Butler came in and he was down here. No one expected him to do what he's doing. He came in not even as an underdog, just as kind of like a second thought. You know, people thought that he was going to be a good player and he had good potential, but they didn't have LeBron James' expectations of him. So LeBron James comes in and he's kind of living up to his expectations. Jimmy Butler is moving up through the ranks of the NBA. He came to the Miami Heat this year and he is leading them to the NBA Finals. And thus, because he has the inferior team where it's just pretty much him and a bunch of role players and Eric Spoelstra, they come in as underdogs. And because of that, just in general, they are more interesting in the NBA landscape in terms of their storyline, coming in as underdogs against the LeBron James and Anthony Davis led Lakers. The Miami Heat being underdogs gives them a much better storyline and makes them much more interesting overall as a team. And in the pantheon of how we're going to remember these NBA Finals, we're going to remember whoever wins the title. What we're going to remember as well is that the Miami Heat came in as major underdogs and put up a majorly good fight against LeBron James and the LA Lakers. It's a bad camera angle for somebody with bad knees. Okay, so maybe I'm a little out of shape. And maybe I'm a little more than just rusty. Jimmy Butler is coming into these NBA Finals as a major underdog, right? Which means whatever happens in these NBA Finals, his story, the Miami Heat story, is going to be much more interesting, much more compelling than the LA Lakers or LeBron James in terms of this season. So that's why when you come out here, if you're an underdog, you should embrace it. You should want it. You should like it. Why? Because it's bright. Anyway, it's bright. So, it gives your legacy a much better story arc. I mean, not that you're trying to do that, right? Not that you're trying to build a story or, you know, especially not some kind of artificial story, but what you're doing is when you make your journey longer in terms of coming from further down, further below other people, when average players come out here and they have average skill and average talent and they're starting from a place of being an average player, and then you come out here and you don't have the talent that they have, you don't have the experience, you don't have the skills yet, so you come in much further down than they do, which means to go up to being the kind of player and having the kind of legacy that you want, you have a longer path to travel than they do. Just like Jimmy Butler has a longer path to travel than LeBron James does. They both came into the NBA as rookies, as having no NBA experience, and had to work really hard to get to these NBA finals. But people's perception of Jimmy Butler was much lower. Their expectations was much lower of Jimmy Butler than of LeBron James. So because of that, because Jimmy Butler started down here and LeBron starts up here, his arc is much more flat than Jimmy Butler's, who is much more steep. And because of that, it's just in general, no matter who you ask, it's much more interesting to watch an underdog claw and fight his way to the top than it is to watch someone of like a LeBron James or just an average player to go from being average to a champion or average to a streetball legend, right? It's much more compelling to see somebody come out here who you don't expect them to be successful. You don't expect them to be a winner, to create a legacy. And they're starting down here, whereas the vast majority of players that show up out here, they're average players. And whether or not they're trying to build their legacy, it's much more compelling to watch and understand and see the progress of the underdogs come from much lower than the average player and work their way towards having a legacy than to see the average player try to go from being average to a legend.
All my life I've barely spoken. Your words have been so broken. I've been under your hypnosis. Why did I sip that potion? I'm so done with holy ghosting. My birth, it is an omen. Lay me down up in the ocean until you see no motion. Right now I can barely focus. I'm showing no emotion. On your knees, show your devotion. My skin is black but golden.
I felt like it just took me 45 minutes to make one free throw. Just so you guys know how much of a master of free throw shooting I am. Whenever you're out here and you see people who are taller than you, bigger than you, have more physical ability, who are more experienced than you, don't run away from that, right? You should embrace that. You should be welcoming of that. Face it, experience it, right? Don't be afraid to let people see that you're not on other people's level yet. Go ahead and step on the court and just do what you can do to the best of your ability at that point in your game, in your legacy, in your process of becoming the kind of player you want to be. It shows people that you're not afraid. You're not afraid of the competition. You're not afraid of losing, of being unsuccessful. You're not afraid of embarrassing yourself, because your ultimate goal is to become a streetball legend. Let people know where you are, and then let them see you grow and progress and evolve. That's how you build a legacy. That's how people know you as a legend. They see you go from here to there. Because very few people can just show up on the court, be the man from the very beginning, dominate throughout their whole career, and then step away and that's it. Have you ever heard of anybody doing that? I mean, at least someone who wasn't in their 20s when they did it. You know, it's one thing to show up to a court as an unknown when you're like 22, dominate for 6 or 7 years, and then stop playing altogether and then leave your legacy out here as a player who showed up and dominated his whole way through. But if you're a younger player, right? If you're a teenager or younger and you're looking to take basketball out here on the court at the park seriously, if that's what you're trying to do, don't be afraid to start from the bottom and work your way up. People seeing that, witnessing that, will see you build your legacy, and it will be more compelling and more interesting than anyone else who just steps out here and dominates from the very beginning.
I feel it coming now. It's too late to shut it down. Over the mountain now, burning the valley down. I don't know where my mind is, don't even know what time is. Somebody stop the virus.
So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you're notified of all my future videos. And chase that underdog story, guys. It can be a lot more helpful than you expect. See you guys next week.
Man, I'll solve all you niggas, huh? How you find when your time up? How you climb when your line stuck? Barbershop getting lined up. Yeah, your head good, but your mind fucked. Super damn clear, Uber everywhere. This sound like Superman is here. Are you with me now? Said, are you with me now? In fact, it's good in a while. They want us to simmer down. Can you hear me now? Am I going in and out? I stop and just look around to see if you with me now. Tell me, are you with me now? Ready to put it down. Start at the bottom, already forgot it, but they won't forgive me now. You really ain't ready now. You haters just in the crowd, but still I just look around.